Hey, it's Mike over at fishyourassoff.com, and today what we're talking about is flounder fishing with lures. Flounder are funny. You can barely tell when you have them half the time. You know, you pitch your whatever up to them and you're like, am I hooked on an oyster? Is that a clump of grass? Oh God, it's swimming away, and it's a flounder. You know, they have just a very subtle bite that they have. So you really gotta, you'll find yourself setting up on weeds and, oysters and all kinds of things because you just get so paranoid about hooking them because you can barely feel them when they hit. So it's one of those you definitely want to use braided line because it gives you that little smidge extra sensitivity so you can really feel them when they hit. But I'm going to go ahead and cover all the different lures. You only need one lure. It's basically Berkeley Gulp, but I'm going to cover all the other ones that work too. So here's another very important point. The flounder's world is within the bottom to about 18 inches above it. That's where you're fishing for flounder. They're on the bottom. There's something that's either covered in mud, sand, or gravel, or they're just sitting there kind of camouflaged with the bottom. So they're on the bottom. They are not going to swim up too much higher than 18 inches to go after something. So if you're fishing for flounder, you need to be fishing in that zone. That's your strike zone, wherever you're fishing. All right, so let's go ahead and I'll show you some of these Berkeley Gulps I use. This stuff is so stinky, but everything loves them. God, you can barely tell what this is, but all right, well, there's a packet of white swimming mullet gulp lures, Berkeley Gulp. It's all gross. And here's a packet of Berkeley Gulp 3-inch shrimp. So I like the white ones, but I also like the different colors, like a darker color and a molting type color. That one's New Penny is another good one. It's basically kind of a brownish with a light. But all these just work wonderfully. They really do. But you keep them in your Ziploc that they give you. I'm telling you, do this or you'll be so upset you didn't. Then put them in your own Ziploc. These things are that stinky. Boy, they are just foul. And then I put mine in a coffee can too. That's how bad these things smell. You definitely don't want to stink up your boat and everything else. So keep them in a multiple layers of stink stopper if you're going to use them. Okay, but those are the ones you use. And let me just tell you, you can't fish too slow for a flounder. You cannot. So you're going to put those Berkeleys on, say, an 1/8 ounce jig head or whatever. It depends on how deep the water is, maybe a quarter. You're going to pitch it out. Barely moving. You're basically dragging it. You're basically dragging it on the bottom, but you kind of want to just hop it a little bit, drag it. Super slow. You can't fish for them too slowly. Just remember that when you're fishing for flounder. Just slow, boop, boop. Give it a little movement, boop, boop. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're fishing with, fish it that slowly. Okay, I'm going to show you some of the other ones. I got them all covered here. Fake shrimp, weedless spoons, different spoons, DOA cows, shrimp tip feather jigs. I'm just going to cover some of these. DOA cows. I like something. These are 3-inch paddle tails. I like something light and something darker or more natural. So there they are. These are 3-inch paddle tail. I'm not sponsored by DOA. They just work and I use them. Here's some more. When they're feeding on bigger fish, this is a 5-inch paddle tail. It's called a Swimming Super Fluke by Zoom. It's a bass bait. But this is another great bait to use when they're feeding on larger ones. You can rig these weedless or put them on a jig head and basically bounce them on the ground. They love to eat shrimp. So any of these fake shrimp, this fake shrimp right here is a DOA fake shrimp, and they work great, a 3-inch shrimp. And this right here is a Charlie's 3-inch shrimp. They work the same. It's just this Charlie's was cheaper, so I bought some of them. Unlike my second cast, I caught a flounder using this, so they obviously work pretty well. So it's something you want to use. Any fake shrimp. Any fake shrimp. Now, I didn't have any weedless spoons, but you know, we all know what spoons look like. This is Johnson, and these are real cheap, but you got to add your own clip and your own barrel swivel to them for them to not twist up your line and stuff when you're using them. So, you know, these work great too. And a lot of people will use feathers. Now this is a setup like a flare, it's a flare hawk type of thing. So you wouldn't want to use this one. You'd want to snip the feathers right by the hooks to make them a smaller version. Now I make my own jigs, a snook jig. So you would cut it right just past the hook, and then you would add a little piece of shrimp to it, just to give it some stink. And you know, a lot of people swear by these. You know, before gulp came out, shrimp tip jig was basically the way to go. But you know, you don't have to bring shrimp now because the gulps make something that just stinks, and the fish love it. But I have these separated where you got Berkeley Gulp number 1, and all these are number 2, and they're all a distant number 2. If you can get good at the technique, which is slow bounce bounce, slow bounce bounce, for catching flounder, there is no need to buy any other lure when you're flounder fishing. You might need different weights depending on the tide or the depth you're fishing, but there is no need to buy anything but gulps. But if you want to, you know, I like fishing with different things just cause. That's just how I do it. But there is no need. This is the only bait you need to catch flounder, and tons of them. But I think I covered everything I want to cover. So that's it for today. So until next time, we'll see you then. All right. Bye-bye.